Comfort is killing you, and weakness is the default setting of modern existence. This truth cuts through the comfortable delusions of a civilization that has mistaken ease for success, convenience for progress, and the absence of struggle for the presence of fulfillment. You have been systematically conditioned to seek comfort above all else, not realizing that this seeking has become the very force that prevents you from developing the strength, resilience, and authentic satisfaction that only emerge through sustained challenge. I have observed how the pursuit of comfort creates a form of spiritual and psychological death, not the dramatic collapse that announces itself clearly, but the slow erosion of capacity, the gradual weakening of will, and the incremental surrender of potential that occurs so subtly that you mistake your diminishment for evolution. The research confirms what careful observation reveals. Prolonged comfort creates measurable decreases in stress tolerance, problem-solving capability, emotional resilience, and the very neural pathways that enable growth and adaptation. You are literally being rewired for weakness by environments designed to eliminate challenge, difficulty, and the productive stress that builds strength. Your modern world has created unprecedented levels of physical comfort, while producing unprecedented levels of psychological fragility. You live in climate-controlled environments, while becoming unable to tolerate minor temperature variations. You have instant access to any information, while becoming unable to tolerate uncertainty. You can avoid physical exertion, while becoming incapable of sustained effort when it becomes necessary. Today I speak of how comfort has become a sophisticated trap that masquerades as progress while systematically dismantling the very capabilities that authentic strength and genuine satisfaction require. Human beings evolved in environments that demanded constant adaptation, physical challenge, and resourceful problem-solving for survival. Your nervous system, cardiovascular capacity, muscular structure, and psychological resilience mechanisms were shaped over millennia by conditions that required regular exposure to stress, uncertainty, and physical demands that modern comfort systematically eliminates. This evolutionary heritage means that your body and mind are designed to grow stronger through challenge rather than weaker through ease. The stress response systems that enabled your ancestors to survive predators, harsh weather, food scarcity, and territorial conflicts now have nothing substantial to respond to, leading to the chronic low-level activation that manifests as anxiety, depression, and the vague sense of unfulfillment that characterizes comfortable modern existence. Research reveals that when stress response systems lack appropriate challenges, they begin to malfunction, creating psychological distress from objectively safe situations, while simultaneously reducing your capacity to handle genuine challenges when they arise. Your comfort-adapted nervous system interprets minor inconveniences as major threats while leaving you unprepared for situations that actually require resilience and adaptive capability. The mismatch extends to your reward systems, which evolved to provide satisfaction from overcoming obstacles, securing resources through effort, and achieving goals that required sustained commitment and skill development. Modern comfort provides rewards without effort, satisfaction without achievement, and stimulation without the personal growth that makes stimulation meaningful. This creates what psychologists recognize as hedonic adaptation, the tendency for increased comfort to provide diminishing satisfaction over time, requiring ever-increasing levels of ease and convenience to achieve the same psychological relief. Like tolerance to addictive substances, comfort tolerance means you need more comfort to feel comfortable, while becoming increasingly distressed by minor challenges that would have been easily manageable in less comfortable conditions. The evolutionary mismatch also affects your social bonding systems, which develop through shared challenges, mutual dependence for survival, and the kind of interdependence that comfort eliminates. When you don't need others for security, resource acquisition, or problem solving, relationships become entertainment-based rather than survival-based, leading to the shallow connections and chronic loneliness that characterize even socially active modern life. Comfort seeking becomes addictive through the same psychological mechanisms that create dependency on drugs, gambling, or any other behavior that provides immediate relief from discomfort without addressing the underlying sources of that discomfort. Each time you choose ease over challenge, immediate gratification over delayed satisfaction, convenience over competence-building effort, you reinforce neural pathways that make future comfort-seeking more automatic and compelling. The addiction operates through what behavioral psychologists call negative reinforcement, the removal of unpleasant stimuli, rather than the addition of pleasant ones. Comfort isn't inherently pleasurable. It's the absence of challenge, effort, uncertainty, and discomfort. This means that comfort addiction is actually avoidance addiction, compulsive fleeing from anything that creates psychological or physical stress, regardless of whether that stress serves important developmental functions. Research demonstrates that chronic comfort-seeking creates measurable changes in brain structure, reducing gray matter in regions responsible for executive function, emotional regulation, and stress tolerance, while increasing activity in areas associated with anxiety and threat detection. Your comfortable environment literally reshapes your brain to be less capable of handling the very challenges that would restore your strength and resilience. The psychological dependency deepens through what might be called learned helplessness generalization. When comfortable conditions persist long enough, you begin to feel incapable of handling challenges you haven't faced recently, even if you previously handled similar challenges successfully. Your comfort-adapted psychology interprets your lack of recent challenge exposure as evidence of reduced capability rather than recognizing that capability requires regular exercise to maintain. The addiction is maintained through social reinforcement systems that celebrate comfort as achievement. Society rewards those who attain high levels of ease and convenience, while subtly stigmatizing voluntary discomfort or unnecessary challenge as masochistic or primitive. This social pressure makes comfort-seeking appear wise and evolved rather than addictive and weakening. Perhaps most insidiously, comfort addiction creates what researchers call stress sensitization, increased emotional and physiological reactivity to minor challenges as a result of reduced exposure to manageable stressors. The less challenging your daily experience becomes, the more overwhelming any challenge feels, creating a feedback loop where increased comfort creates increased fragility, which demands increased comfort to maintain psychological equilibrium. The costs of chronic comfort extend far beyond obvious physical weakness or reduced stress tolerance. They include the systematic elimination of psychological qualities that are essential for authentic satisfaction, meaningful achievement, and the kind of deep fulfillment that makes life worth living, rather than merely comfortable. Comfort erodes what psychologists call self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to handle challenges, solve problems, and influence outcomes through your own efforts. When environments eliminate opportunities to demonstrate capability under pressure, you gradually lose confidence in your ability to handle difficulty, creating psychological fragility that makes you increasingly dependent on external supports and comfortable conditions. The creativity and innovation that emerge from resource constraints, time pressure, the need to solve problems with limited options, are systematically eliminated in comfortable environments that provide immediate access to solutions, tools, and support systems. Without the productive stress that forces creative thinking, your problem-solving abilities atrophy while your dependency on external resources increases. Comfortable conditions also eliminate what researchers recognize as post-traumatic growth, the increased psychological strength, deeper appreciation, enhanced relationships, and greater life, meaning that typically result from successfully navigating significant challenges. When life provides no genuine obstacles to overcome, you miss opportunities for the kind of profound development that only emerges from voluntarily engaging with difficulty. The erosion extends to emotional resilience. As comfortable conditions provide no opportunities to practice tolerating negative emotions, sitting with uncertainty, or maintaining functionality during psychological distress, your emotional regulation skills weaken from disuse, making you increasingly vulnerable to anxiety, depression, and psychological instability when comfort is temporarily unavailable. Perhaps most tragically, chronic comfort prevents access to what psychologists call flow states, periods of deep engagement, optimal challenge, and intrinsic motivation that provide the highest levels of human satisfaction and meaning. Flow requires the right balance of challenge and skill, which comfortable conditions systematically eliminate by removing challenge, while skills atrophy from lack of use. The social costs include reduced capacity for genuine intimacy and mutual dependence that creates strong bonds between people. When individuals don't need each other for survival, security, or problem solving, relationships become transactional entertainment exchanges, rather than deep partnerships forged through shared challenge and mutual support during difficult times. Weakness becomes the default setting, not through dramatic failure or obvious collapse, but through the gradual elimination of opportunities to exercise and develop strength until weakness feels normal and strength feels impossible or unnecessary. This process occurs so gradually that you adapt to diminished capability without recognizing that adaptation represents loss rather than evolution. Modern environments are systematically designed to eliminate friction, challenge, and the productive stress that maintains human capability. Elevators eliminate opportunities for cardiovascular exercise. GPS systems eliminate opportunities to develop navigation skills. Instant communication eliminates opportunities to develop patience and delayed gratification tolerance. Each convenience seems beneficial individually, while collectively creating comprehensive weakness. The weakness becomes self-reinforcing through what might be called capability atrophy spirals. As you become less capable of handling challenges, challenges feel more overwhelming, creating motivation to avoid them more completely, leading to further capability reduction. Your weakness creates conditions that generate more weakness, while your fear of challenge grows in proportion to your reduced ability to handle challenge. Social and economic systems amplify this dynamic by rewarding those who can afford maximum comfort, while penalizing those forced to maintain capability through necessity. Wealth becomes associated with weakness, as affluent individuals eliminate challenge from their lives, while strength becomes associated with poverty, as less comfortable individuals maintain capabilities through continued exposure to difficulty. The default weakness is also maintained through what psychologists recognize as learned industriousness deficit, reduced motivation to exert effort when effort isn't required for survival or basic comfort. When all essential needs are met through minimal effort, the psychological rewards for sustained work, skill development, and challenge-seeking diminish, creating preference for ease over accomplishment. Cultural narratives reinforce weakness as default by framing comfort as the ultimate goal of human development, challenge as unfortunate necessity, to be eliminated through progress, and strength as primitive quality that evolved humans should transcend rather than cultivate. These narratives make weakness appear sophisticated while making strength seem regressive. The biological reality is that all adaptive capabilities follow use it or lose it. Principles, cardiovascular fitness, muscular strength, cognitive flexibility, stress tolerance, and emotional resilience, all decrease when not regularly challenged. Comfort creates conditions where these capabilities are never challenged, leading to comprehensive decline that feels gradual and natural rather than preventable and reversible. Liberation from comfort's weakening effects requires recognizing that voluntary discomfort, chosen challenge, and deliberate exposure to manageable stress are not optional luxuries for those seeking growth. They are essential practices for maintaining basic human functionality and accessing authentic satisfaction that comfortable ease can never provide. The liberation process begins with what might be called comfort fasting, deliberately removing conveniences, eliminating easy options, and creating situations that require effort, problem solving, and stress tolerance. This might involve physical challenges like regular exercise that pushes your limits, cold exposure, or activities that require sustained physical effort despite discomfort. Mental comfort fasting involves engaging with difficult intellectual challenges, learning skills that require sustained effort and frustration tolerance, and tackling problems that have no immediate solutions. This rebuilds cognitive resilience, while restoring confidence in your ability to think through difficulties rather than avoiding them, or seeking immediate external solutions. Emotional comfort. Fasting means sitting with negative emotions, without immediately seeking distraction, entertainment, or comfort. This involves tolerating anxiety, without immediately eliminating its sources, processing sadness without rushing to feel better, and maintaining functionality during psychological discomfort, rather than organizing life around emotional ease. The practice extends to social comfort. Fasting, engaging in conversations that might be awkward, expressing opinions that might be unpopular, and maintaining relationships that require effort, rather than only seeking connections that provide easy validation and entertainment. This rebuilds social confidence while reducing dependency on others' approval for psychological stability. Perhaps most importantly, the liberation requires developing what might be called anti-fragility, the capacity to become stronger through stress rather than merely surviving it. This involves actively seeking challenges that are slightly beyond your current capability, creating positive stress that builds capacity rather than avoiding all stress that might create temporary discomfort. The freedom that emerges from breaking comfort addiction is not the freedom from challenge, but the freedom to choose difficulty when it serves growth, strength, and authentic achievement. You regain the capacity to engage with life's natural challenges from a position of strength, rather than being overwhelmed by difficulties that comfortable people cannot handle. The path I walked demanded choosing difficulty over ease repeatedly, until strength became natural and comfort became optional, rather than necessary. In breaking free from comfort's seductive weakness, I discovered capabilities and satisfactions that comfortable existence had made completely inaccessible. The deep fulfillment that comes from overcoming genuine challenges, the confidence that emerges from proven resilience, and the vitality that flows from a body and mind conditioned by regular stress, rather than weakened by constant ease. I learned that comfort is not achievement but abdication, the surrender of human potential in exchange for temporary relief from the productive stress that builds everything worth having. The comfortable life promises ease while delivering emptiness, convenience while creating incompetence, pleasure while preventing fulfillment. Your modern world has created a sophisticated trap disguised as progress. Environments so comfortable, they eliminate the very challenges that create strength, resilience, and the deep satisfaction that comes from earned capability. You live in the most physically comfortable conditions in human history, while experiencing unprecedented levels of anxiety, depression, and the vague sense that something essential is missing from existence. The missing element is challenge, productive stress that builds rather than breaks, difficulties that strengthen rather than overwhelm, obstacles that create growth rather than mere survival. Without regular exposure to manageable challenge, you become like a muscle that atrophies from disuse, technically alive but functionally useless when strength is required. The research confirms what warriors, athletes, and builders have always known: strength is built through stress, resilience through recovery from difficulty, and confidence through proven capability under pressure. These qualities cannot be developed in comfortable conditions, any more than physical fitness can be developed through rest alone. Begin by recognizing that every choice of ease over effort is a choice of weakness over strength, dependency over capability, fragility over resilience. Every convenience you accept without corresponding challenge is a step toward comprehensive incompetence that masquerades as sophistication while making you less able to handle life's inevitable difficulties. Start small but start consistently. Choose stairs over elevators, walking over driving, when practical, cooking over ordering, learning over entertainment, effort over ease, whenever the choice presents itself. Each small choice toward difficulty builds the psychological and physical infrastructure that makes larger challenges manageable. Seek out voluntary hardship, activities that push your limits, situations that require problem solving, environments that demand adaptation. The discomfort you feel is not punishment, but training, not suffering but strength building, not problem but solution to the comprehensive weakness that comfort creates. Most importantly, develop preference for earned satisfaction over provided pleasure, achieved comfort over given ease, proven capability over assumed competence. When you can create comfort through your own strength rather than depending on external systems to provide it, you regain access to authentic confidence and genuine self-reliance. Comfort is killing you by making you too weak to handle life's natural challenges, too fragile to tolerate necessary stress, too dependent to function when external support is unavailable. But weakness is not permanent condition. It is temporary state that can be reversed through deliberate choice to engage with difficulty, that rebuilds what comfortable ease has dismantled. The strong were not born strong. They became strong through repeated exposure to stress that comfortable people avoid. The resilient did not inherit resilience. They developed it through recovery from difficulties that comfortable people prevent. The capable did not receive capability as gift. They built it through engagement with challenges that comfortable people eliminate. You can reclaim your strength, rebuild your resilience, and redevelop your capability by choosing the path that leads through discomfort toward authentic power. The comfortable path leads to weakness, disguised as sophistication. The difficult path leads to strength that makes comfort optional rather than necessary. Choose difficulty. Choose challenge. Choose the stress that builds rather than the ease that weakens. In these choices lies your liberation from the comfortable prison that promises everything, while delivering the slow death of unused potential. Comfort is killing you. Choose life. Choose strength. Choose the difficulties that make you capable of creating the comfort you want, rather than depending on the comfort that makes you incapable of handling anything else.